I'll call the meeting to order.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to convene as Walworth County Plan and Zoning Board. Is there any old business? New business? They got a motion on the floor. I need a second.
I'll second.
Got a second. Any more discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed. I'd like to convene as the Walworth County Board of Zoning Adjustment. Is there any old business? New business? Okay, I got a motion on the floor. I need a second. Got a second. Is there any more discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed. I'd like to convene as Board of County Commissioners. Approval of the agenda. Well, there's a few things that we gotta add on to there. One, discussion on transports for the jail. Second one, Gary's gonna give a little update on, I'm gonna call it the 300th Avenue up north on the Sitka Road. Davis, did you have one to talk about that 9/11 or? Okay, then we want to discuss the 9/11. And the last one I want to put on there for salary and benefits at the State's Attorney's Office. I would take a motion to approve these.
I need a approve advertising for a budget supplement for the landfill.
Okay, I'd take a motion.
So moved.
Okay, I got a motion on the floor. I need a second. Okay, got a second. Any more discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed. Public forum.
I don't know how many of you are, Josh. I know how many of you are aware, but Josh was just sworn in by Chief Justice Gilbertson as the president of the South Dakota Sheriff's Association, so I think should give him a hand right now. Congratulations.
Thank you. Anything else, Dwayne?
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Consider motion to approve the county commission minutes of December 3rd. I think there's a little error in there. Okay, under the highway department, Gary made a little mistake there. He said his math is very good. It's supposed to be 1866, not 56. This big.
Well, that was what was done at the meeting though, so the minutes will have to remain the same, but we'll have to do a new motion for this, on this meeting to fix the wage. He'll still get paid what he's supposed to, but these minutes were a copy of what was done. So we'll have to leave the minutes and then just do a new motion today.
Okay, I take a motion to approve December 3rd, 2020 minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, I got a motion on the floor, I need a second.
I'll second.
Got a second. Is there any more discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed. Okay, number 15, consider motion to revise employee handbook for travel compensation.
I put that on there, I guess. I would like to, I just added a sentence in paragraph, the first paragraph, 6.7-1. I added in there, travel expenses and per diem rates will only be reimbursed when it requires an overnight stay. I don't understand why we are paying out lunches and food and stuff for ones that are in the course of their scheduled job, they're getting paid to eat. Their job is to be on the road. I checked with the United States Post Office, FedEx, UPS. There is, there isn't one of them that gets paid, and they drive a hell of a lot more than what we're driving. So, in the course, their job is to drive. I can see it if it's an overnight stay somewhere, yeah, then they should get per diem. But why are we paying for the course of just their normal job? According to this month, we got $400 and some of meals that we're paying out. If that's the case, let's pay everybody's lunches. Let's pay the highway department. Let's pay everybody's lunches. That's the course of their job. They're over their lunch hour. Let's pay for everybody's lunches otherwise.
Well, what's the rest of the commission feel on this?
We're gonna do this, we're gonna do it across the board for everybody. That's what this says.
Well, I agree, it should be across the board. So if we're paying it, let's pay everybody.
I don't believe you can count the highway workers the same as the rest of our staff when they have to travel out of town.
Is that part of their job, is to travel outside of town?
It is now.
Same way with the highway department, they're out of town.
Pretty hard for them to stop at a restaurant down there south of the Cascade at William Road. That's a little ridiculous.
Well, I understand, but that's part of their job. If the post office and UPS and FedEx and all them aren't getting paid, they're driving a hell of a lot more than we are. I can see if it's an overnight stay. That's what I put in there. If it's an overnight stay, then we'll reimburse it. But I don't see why we're paying that for the course of a regular job.
Should be able to get it figured out the right way to do this. Davis, what's your thoughts on it? I see it both ways.
Yeah, I do
This is just mainly directed at our transport officers. I don't know why we have to try to go out of our way to make that department fail and to lose our employees. We just keep kicking them in the teeth every chance we get.
No, it's to be
We've done that for the
equal,
last
it's to
5
be equal
years.
throughout the county for all departments. If we're paying one, let's pay them all.
We do when they go out of town. Transport officers really have no schedule. They don't know when they're gonna leave, they don't know when they're gonna get back, and they don't quite often know where they're leaving, where they're going to when they leave their house. Or at what time of day. This is just mainly directed at our transport officers.
Can't hardly stop. You have prisoners who you can't stop.
Right.
You think they deserve it?
But I mean, if, just the comment you made though, that you don't stop, then why would you be getting paid for a meal if you're not stopping?
Probably just stop at the drive-in. So, take them out. I don't know, I don't transport.
This isn't directed at one department, it's to be equal through all the departments.
It's adding up to a lot of money. Marion, what are you thinking?
Well, I see it, like you guys are saying, kind of see it both ways. I question when, if you're gonna talk about transport deals, it looks like that one's maybe the one that this is going to affect the most. When they took that position as a transport officer, they knew they were gonna be on the road. So it's no different than when the highway guys are taking the blade operator, they know they're gonna be on the road. So they're gonna have to pack a lunch or whatever. I guess I see it where, I guess I kind of agree with Kevin in that sense that if we're gonna do it for one office, we should do it for all of them. Even when they weren't on the road in the jail over here, they were getting meals in there. So I'm not sure that you can say this is necessarily a transport deal, that they're getting their meals over there when they were in the jail. So why aren't the other offices getting meals too?
Yes, Josh?
I guess it's kind of hard not to see it that way. I guess it is going to affect my transport officers. It's going to affect the sheriff's office. It's not going to matter. We're available 24/7. Transport's available 24/7. I got one going to Rapid City and then to Meade already today. It's going to be gone all day. So, you know, it is going to affect stuff. And this number didn't really go up, fellas, and not being condescending, but until we started this transport, we haven't seen these numbers. But yeah, we paid the per diem before. We've always done it on transports.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask a question though, Josh. Really, then, by being a transport, how much difference is that than being you as the sheriff? So, not the same title, that's not what I'm getting at. But you're out there every day, Travis is out there every day, and you don't know when you're out, so then, do you turn in for your meal every day?
No.
That's what I'm getting at, is what difference really are we talking about here? Because they're out transporting, they don't know if they're gonna go. Just like you're out, Travis is out. So I'm trying to see the difference here. You're both out, you're both probably gone over dinner hour. Both probably gonna be gone over
That
supper.
happened several times.
That's what I'm getting at, so how are you figuring it any different? So I mean, how does a guy then give the transport people this money and not you guys that are out working too over your dinner hour? Is it because that was your job when you took it? I'm just trying to see some fairness here.
Well, I think.
Now do you see what I'm talking about by fair?
I guess this was never an issue until we started transporting though, is what I'm getting at. This was a moot point. We've had to do transports before and we've always gotten paid. When we've had to be away from home, unable to stop, however, whatever the case may be. But now we're on the road way more. Way more. Going all over the place. I mean, it's up to you guys. But then they're gonna get for them to stop somewhere, and it's inconvenience for them also to get back here. But whatever you guys wanna do.
No, but you're missing my point though, I think. What I'm saying is, you guys are out as being the sheriff and the deputy. You guys are out. And you're not getting your meal paid for. That's where I'm going with this.
You're right, we don't. Unless we're out of town for a conference or something.
I know that, but I'm saying about just in your job.
No, I don't charge meals. My deputies don't either.
So that's what I'm getting at is
understand
apparently
what you're
you
saying.
must have known that when you took that job, that you weren't gonna be getting your meal paid every day if you were out. Do you see where I'm going now?
I understand what you're saying.
I think if you want to, like the rest of us, the highway department, the rest of us, we just stop and go off the clock and eat. That's why ours aren't paid for. But when they're on transport, they don't have that choice. They have to get back here in case they have to go again. They don't have that option to just stop for a half an hour or an hour.
But Deb, that's what I'm referring to Josh, the exact same thing with the sheriff and the deputies. They're not, why is it right that Josh and the deputies don't get paid? Why should the transports get it? Then why shouldn't Josh and his deputies get it? I'm having
Maybe they should.
I'm having a hard time getting by that. If you do one, to me, it's just like the comment Kevin said. If you do one, then you should do it all.
But
If the emergency manager gets called out and is busy doing something, if he ain't there from 11:32 to 12:19 or whatever time it's in there, then by God, he should get paid for it. If we go to a meeting out of town and we're over lunch hour, we should get paid for it. So either we're gonna do it for everybody or none. That's my point. But it's adding up to a lot, it's gonna cost us a lot, we should have line items for it. Let's put it in the budget for everybody then.
I think it was something that probably should have been looked at probably years ago on this. Because if we sit there and look at it, then how fair is it to everybody then? I'm talking about just even in the sheriff and jail department. Then it looks like the way how that is, then it looks like Josh and his deputies should be getting it too. How else would you look at that any different? Am I the only one that sees it like that with Josh and his deputies?
The way I see it, they got time to stop. Yeah, they might be
You
busy.
don't know that. You don't
They
know
might
that.
be busy for an hour or two between calls, but when that transport officer is going to rapid, they don't have the time to stop, or they can't. You can't drag that inmate and that prisoner into the truck stop down in Myrtle or Vivian and sit around there and snack on things. It's a little different.
I guess I understand, like I said, what you're saying, but then when you're talking about they don't have the option to stop. Where's the difference in the cost of the whole thing? If they have time to stop, they still have the cost of buying the meal.
They don't have a half an hour off for an hour like Deb says or whatever for their meal.
Neither does the highway department. Neither does.
Highway department takes a half an hour or so off at dinner time. I remember it's half an hour,
Or none.
That's up to them, yeah. I know down our way you don't see them sitting there at dinner time, they work through that, but that's their choice.
I just brought this up to be fair to everybody. What are they gonna, I think we should either pay everybody.
I guess I'm just gonna make the suggestion. I had thought about this before, but not like I'm thinking right now. And I truthfully would like to just sit there and think about this. I'm not sure that I want to make that decision exactly. I know that might sound like a way out of it, but it's not. We've got one more meeting yet this year. And I believe because I think I should look at it and see how fair it really is to everybody. Just because you transport people, I don't see how you should just, that they're any different than anybody else. They took that job. That's how I look at it.
You know, we've kind of done with personnel policy, where we meet as department heads. Maybe this is really something that the department heads should talk over and talk with you guys before we make a permanent decision on what to do about it. And it's especially gonna affect, apparently, the highway department and the sheriff's office. They should at least get a chance to talk it over and see what works for them and their departments and their people.
It's up to you.
No, it's not up to me. I'm just sitting in the middle, that's all. The difference between you and me.
I know, but it's another one that we put on the back burner and we never get back to it.
Oh.
And then nothing ever gets done about it.
I just look at it that the guy should look at exactly who it's all affecting. You guys make the call, what do you want to do right now? I just threw that, my suggestion out.
I voiced my opinion, so I'm only one opinion.
Marion?
I guess I'm under the impression that, I could go either way really with it. I feel like we're treating departments differently to some degree here with everybody having the ability to have that meal. If we're doing that for one department, I think we should do it for everybody.
Davis?
I think Deb's got a good idea. Let's talk her over.
Jim?
It says in our agenda, consider a motion to revise the handbook. If we get a motion in a second, then let's vote. If not, let's move on.
I will make a motion to accept the updated policy for 6.7-1.
Okay, I got a motion on the floor. I need a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, got a second. Any more discussion on that? Hearing none, roll call. Kevin,
Yes.
Marion,
Yes.
Jim,
No,
Davis.
No.
I'll vote yes. Motion passed. Number 16, consider motion to approve claims paid as presented.
I got one question from the claims, and I'm just more confused on the bill itself. Maybe state's attorney. Just seems like as an invoice from a business, a written letter seems like.
What is it?
David Chalandra.
He's an Indian Child Welfare Act expert. That's how he submitted his bill.
It just seems like a business way you'd have a little more of a detailed, I mean, it's detailed, it's all written out on a yellow pad, but that's the only thing I was questioning, if there was something that we should look and see if there's a better, if we can get more of a letterhead or anything like that as a bill, or.
He provided his expertise. Bill should be paid.
Okay.
You're gonna get another one just like that in 2 days. You got another termination. So.
I move for approval.
Yeah, I got a motion on the floor. I need a second.
I'll second it.
A second, yes, Becky.
I have the TransSource bill in there for the Salt Rose project. But I think we need to pull it because Randy Hansen emailed me this morning, said with everything that has happened on this project, I would recommend waiting until we confirm quantities. Thought he was doing that a while ago, but he,
Thought they were done with that.
so I think we need to pull it May 29th. According to him, Randy.
Pleasure. Amend your motion, Jim.
Yeah. I move for approval except for that. That one that Becky just informed us about.
Okay, I have the motion on the floor and need a second.
I'll second.
Either that's in solid waste.
Yes.
It's TransSource is who it's written to.
Oh, there it is. Okay, I see it.
Any more discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed. Gary.
Take one and count for the roll, Toby, please.
pass it around. And that's the utility easement, the original, all need signed and attested for the water line crossing. We'll do that right off the start, try and make all this stuff quick. Consider approving utility easement for Darren Beetlespocker of Beetlespocker Farms for a road crossing east of Walworth. We received $250 as required.
I so move.
Okay, I got a motion on the floor. I need a second.
I'll second.
A second. Any more discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed. Jimmy did.
Next item we briefly discussed, this is where I publicly admit that I can't do simple math. I requested on Aaron Fiedler's starting wage that it was recommended we start at $18.56. I think the original motion said that was a starting rate with a 50-cent pay increase after 3 months. That would bring in 10 cents short of all the other employees, and I think it's your intent to maintain continuity. So at this stage of the game, I'm asking to make that $18.66 with a 50-cent pay increase after 3 months probation. So moved.
You got a motion on the floor and a second. Any more discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed.
And that'll be on that change in the motion, Becky, will be in his paycheck, right?
Yeah.
Right. Thanks. Monthly reports. We're planning on, the last meeting of the year, bringing the transfer stuff up for the township roads. And, that'll make shouldn't make any, I'm not gonna comment on that, but, we're doing what we can on that, so. Any questions? Page 2, disbursements. There's no questions.
I guess I had one for you, Jerry. I noticed in the claims that for CDL reimbursements, we always reimburse for CDLs.
Yes, from my knowledge.
Yep. Ever since I've been here anyway, 13 years, so.
I had my driver's license renewed, and so did James Ackerman, I believe. And the cost out of pocket was $33.
Okay, one was 33 and one was 35.
It's a different endorsement stuff. One might have doubles, and that's the best answer I can give you, so. On just a brief item, Dewey Helm, having tested positive, has returned to work. Gerald positive for COVID. Gerald Costers is still out, and I can't really elaborate too much on the medical condition, so.
Any other ones?
Jason, that's there's kind of a small issue about what's the protocol of Walworth County. And I don't want to talk about that in a public forum, but the testing is covered by insurance, I believe.
Nobody else paid for theirs, so I'm not sure how that works.
I thought something came down in an email that says the insurance company will pay for testing. But, you know, we're not going there. The question is it the county's position that if you test positive, then there's COVID relief funds that are tapped into?
If you test positive, you get paid during the time you have to be off.
And I'm hearing that it's 80 hours provided, I think.
Yeah. If that's what they need.
So here comes a situation where what if you test negative? Then
Well, we passed that, I mean, we voted on that, it was all supposed to be if they got the symptoms. If they didn't have the symptoms, then they shouldn't have went and got tested. That was right, we passed that.
this is the scenario. I'm not gonna elaborate on the individual employee, but symptoms came up, was instructed to avoid coming in, go to the doctor, get tested. The FAUST test came back negative, but then a second test, it's my opinion that the FAUST test is not as reliable as the lung test. I've heard that a couple of times. So first test, FAUST, negative, was diagnosed with strep throat and a duplicate of one of the other employees. So I held him out of work to do a lung test for safety. Waited 2 days for the test results. Those test results came back negative. So now it's the question of, with me saying stay home, is it COVID relief or is it individual health sick leave?
Well, according to Department of Labor, I believe that they would say you told him to stay home, so he should be covered.
Yes.
That would be my guess.
Didn't we decide if they have been exposed, they're supposed to go get tested and have no symptoms in 4 days, they're supposed to come back to work
They're supposed to wait for that 4 days
to get tested?
to get tested. If you don't have no symptoms, yeah.
The way I've handled that,
Yeah.
the way I've handled that, Jim, internally was, if you think you've been exposed, stay home. But if you work remotely, which has been our design during this COVID thing, the satellite shops, you're alone. And there's even in the more populated shop like Selby, if you can come to work and get in your grader or whatever, your truck, you avoid contact, you can work as long as you don't have any symptoms. So that's how it's been handled in the highway department, so.
Yep.
No questions on the budget?
Did you get your answer on your employees? I feel like being you told them to stay home and to get tested, even though it was negative, I think that should still be, should be a covered expense.
I would say, and we're kind of flirting with employer-employee stuff in an open meeting. But, my opinion is that if he was, the first test, was negative and was instructed by me to stay home and get another test, the lung test to verify, that is admitting that, I am admitting that I want to take responsibility for your illness, and I want to protect the interest of the other employees, whereby till you get your second test back, you are on COVID relief funding, if it exists. After that, it's game on. So now it's, you use your personal sick leave. So the second test came back negative, and I had the conversation with the employee that we're covering until the second test came back negative. And now it's like if you take additional sick leave or additional time off because of whatever ailments, it's being withdrawn from your sick leave health. So, and subject to the criteria in the personnel policy. So, moving on, I handed out an email. We mailed it out to you people. I think you get it one, Jamie.
The Boshi one come up,
What's that?
the Rick Boshi.
The Boshi one, yep,
Is it all right if he's on the phone?
certainly.
He's want to talk to you.
Did you send correspondence to him?
Yeah, I was waiting for this meeting, so.
Hey Rick, Scott here at the Walworth County Commission.
Hi.
Okay, we're gonna start talking about it. All right. Go ahead, Gary.
As directed by the commission, Rick, Terry, Matt, and I looked at that section line. Your first request, it kind of subject to how the agenda had it presented. Were you requesting to put a gate across the section line?
Well, actually, what I wanted from Walworth County was to put a gate on the county line, because Campbell County requested we do that. They couldn't grant that because it needed Walworth and Campbell to approve it. They never dealt with one before on a county line. So they were suggesting that we go to Walworth County and get an approval on Walworth County, and then Campbell County has their scheduled for the January 5th meeting. They have to do a public hearing on that.
Yeah, he needs to file a petition here too in Walworth County if he wants to put a gate up.
Can you hear that, Rick?
No, I did not.
You need to file a petition here too if you want to put a gate up on the section line. Right now, the fence is illegal.
Okay, so we also do need to file a petition on the Walworth County side then?
If it's gonna be a portion in Walworth County, I would assume yes. Unless you're just gonna put it on the Campbell County side. But if you put the gate on the Campbell County side, then I would assume we wouldn't object. As long as there's access to be
Where do you draw the
maintained.
line, you know, I mean, where is the actual, you know, if you put a gate in there, you obviously probably would be going from one side to the other. You know, I mean, it's not gonna be on one or the other. 'Cause
Then you would
it's in the
need-
middle of the line.
Then you'd need to submit a petition to put a fence in, or a gate in, I'm sorry.
Okay. And is that an annual thing then, or is that
Yes.
something that gets done
Annually.
annually? Okay. Because it's probably gonna come down in the next couple of days, it's gonna come down, so you probably wouldn't pay to petition it this year anymore, but, and if we did petition it and we did it in the January meeting, it would be good for next fall then, I guess, is what I'm asking.
Yes.
Okay. All right, well, I will look into, what we need to do for that. I know the lawyer in Campbell County was gonna send me the paperwork that I needed to have because I needed to have some, of the neighbors signed that it would be okay, and then they did have to have it in the paper for public hearing.
Now, Rick, you had asked me a question though, Gary, do you know how far did you and Terry see? You were asking me that, Rick, how far down that,
Well, yeah, I guess, like I said, I'd like to have been there so I could take you to the exact areas where it's not passable, but, I don't know where you all went to. Where did you go to when you were on that?
I think we visited the west end of the area in question. And Rick, I've got an email that I handed out. I have sent it out to the commissioners. Some didn't receive it. So I just handed it out. That's a public document. I'd like to get that to you of our findings. And then basically what it says, Rick, is that Terry and I visited the west end. You know where that schoolhouse is in Walworth County, the abandoned one?
Yes.
The road goes north and you kind of have to work your way around that slough to get access going north to get to the county line.
Right.
Where we met the county line was the only portion that we looked at.
Oh, yeah.
And the email goes on to say that,
If you got to that area where it's fenced off and you didn't go beyond that?
no, because, there was.
You didn't get to any of the areas where it's not passable.
The email says that since there's no access, not by design or nothing, we chose not to go east of that area until there was a gate placed for access. I recollect that when you attended the meeting, you had areas of liability concerns. First factor, we need access where we can physically drive. The county line going east of that point. At that time, we determined that what kind of liability exists. Is it a washed out culvert? Is the grade washed out? Once we determine the area's liability, then Campbell and Walworth jointly cooperate in making access available by repair. We're gonna stop short that if a slough is flooding the section line, we're avoiding any repair on situations like that. If it's structure related or if it's grade related, we'll handle that to maintain access.
Okay. Yeah, because if you got to the west end of that and you did not go east from there, that is where you go east, and then where you go north, and that's on the Campbell County part there, is where the road is pretty much gone. So I could at some point, if you get in that area, take you up there, or like I say, in the next, I don't know, day or two here, we're gonna bring cattle all home anyway, so that'll come down. But we'll look at this, and I will hopefully get the information from you guys as far as what I need to do a public hearing on this, because it's probably something that we'll look at next fall again to do. But like I said, Campbell County would not approve theirs because they said, well, they can't, and I don't know why. I mean, it's kind of like came first, the chicken or the egg. You know, one has to say that it's okay, and then the other one does. But they were kind of leery and saying, well, it doesn't do any good for us to approve it if Walworth doesn't. So, but there is areas in there that if you're going to fix, that's fine, and if not, well, then we'll look at it again. But
Alrighty, then anything else there, Rick? We'll visit later about this then.
well, if I could get the information sent to me or whatever I need to do the public hearing thing, and we'll get that scheduled. If I need to, do I need to get joint landowners, which is basically my wife and I and my son-in-law and my daughter, maybe Brian Gill, they own the land right to the west there. Other than that, there's really no other adjoining landowners who would be involved with it. Or does it just have to come to a public hearing? And Campbell County was vague on that. They didn't really even know either. They just said they've never dealt with one on a line before, so. But they were gonna do a public hearing on it, and then, if anybody, we have to print that, obviously, and if anybody wants to oppose it, they can come to the meeting. So my question is, excuse me, do I need to get signatures, or can we just do the public hearing and get it approved?
It's a petition process. My recommendation would be is to get an attorney and have them submit the proper paperwork.
Did you hear that? Hear that,
Yeah,
Rick?
I did. Yep, I did. So if the attorney out of Campbell County sends me the petition thing, when I get that if I copy that and use it for Walworth County as well, I'm sure that would be sufficient.
I would have to look at it first, but I would assume.
I guess when you get it, Rick, probably just send us a copy over here, probably send it over to Jamie and then he can look at that.
Okay,
Alrighty?
okay, sounds like a deal.
Alright, thanks, Rick.
You bet, thank you.
Yep.
Bye.
Last item, I'm questioning, can we do this in old business, item number 22, but, relative to,
Got it on the agenda.
you got it on the agenda? Relative to D3WM, that project, we did the survey on. It's my opinion, we're gonna move ahead with putting a culvert across 300th Avenue. Per the detail from the survey results. Basically, I think I'm informing you that we're gonna go ahead with the culvert placement. So, I don't know if you need a motion or just recognize that the project is gonna move forward, so.
Alrighty.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Amanda.
Morning.
Morning.
I think you should in your packet have my report.
No, it was on the,
Sorry, I guess. She's gonna go get it. It's in that fishing tray in her office, I guess.
question. What, can you explain the difference between last year and this year? I mean, we're down almost, I'm looking at, we're down about $1 million in revenue.
So up here in the money market,
Yeah.
is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Just because our expenses are, there's more. The only thing I can think of is that there's more expenses than what, than revenue is what I'm thinking. Is the only difference is that I'm definitely seeing more money going out than coming in. Yeah.
Not a good situation.
Yes, I was just looking at that for the year, current year, previous year, we're almost $1 million short.
That's why we gotta take a look at saving money where we can instead of just keep spending. Well, the way we are in 6 years, the county will be broke.
Nobody has any questions, I'd take a motion.
I so moved.
We got a motion on the floor, I need a second. Got a second. Any more discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
All right.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed. Thank you. Josh.
Passing it around. These are the two contracts I'm meshing down here. Reports handed out as a transport report and a inmate report, and then sheriff's office report. Transport and inmate are done on spreadsheet. Those are totals. As you can see, it's all itinerized on that report. Kevin, this is more condensed from what the last one was. She made some changes to it. The other one was kind of, had a lot of stuff on it. But it still has has the information on there that you guys wanted, or we're looking for.
This looks good. I guess my question is if we had 13 inmates, why do we have 20 transports going?
Which report, you on the transport one?
Yeah, but if you look at the inmate report, we got 13 inmates for the month of November. For the month of November, for transports, we got going is 20. Where's the other 7 from in?
I'll have to look at that and put that down, or not put it down, excuse me, but figure that out for you. I don't know off the top of my head, if there was medical transports in there or.
Well, would it be when we go to get them for court, maybe?
Or court,
Take
or
them and then-
emergency committals.
Will the court be pickup?
Yes.
If you got 16 pickups and only 13 boarding, but I guess I just.
You could have more pickups though than inmates just because some could be carried over from October, right?
And I
Correct.
understand that, and you got a doctor's appointment, so I understand that, but for going, if you got 13 inmates going, you got 20 trips.
Yeah, just have to check into it, and see what.
I'll figure that out and let you know in an email, okay, what that is.
Sheriff, is there a spot, we don't have anything on here that's saying what we're getting charged per day on inmate boarding?
Would you like that on there?
I don't know that's necessary, it'd just be kind of interesting to know what, are they all about the same?
Between 80 and 85, depending on where you go. I know the new contract that you guys will, I'll ask the chairman to sign today and you guys take action on they went, Faulkner went up to 90 and they were at 85. So, in that new contract, the other one's Falk County, or excuse me, Hughes County. And that, I think that is 90, 85 or 90. I'd have to look again. But
I guess
they're in that ballpark between that 85 and 80 right now.
I don't know that it would, if that's not a big deal, I think that would be kind of interesting to have that on that spreadsheet so you could actually take those numbers and see where we're at for expenses over the course. Because you're not, if they're not all the same, they're not able to take, I mean, you could take an average, but it'd be something that you could calculate that out a little bit better on.
Yes, Becky.
I just wanted to point out that this month we did have a juvenile, so that one is way more. I think it's what, 250 a day? So,
Right. And I mean, that's where I think if you had that, if that was on there, you could break that down and see kind of a little bit more what your inmate cost is gonna be. And I don't know if that's a big deal to add that on there or not, but.
I don't think it will be. I'll try and work it in there.
Okay.
Rest of this looks good though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, move on to the prison boarding contracts. One for Hughes, one for Falk. Asking for any discussion if you gotta have any, or just a motion to sign those for me, please.
This is the one for Hughes County Jail. It looks like they're asking for $80.
These are just your annual contracts that you're, have to be able to take in with them.
Correct.
So I take a motion for Hughes County Jail 1 contract.
So,
Okay, you got a motion on the floor, I need a second.
No second.
We got a second. Any more discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed. This is for Falk County. And it is for $90. I would take a motion for that.
So moved.
Okay, got a motion on the floor, I need a second. Got a second, any more discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed.
You got any for Roberts County? That was done not that long, or?
Not yet, no. There's,
Did we just do that?
we did. Now, there may be a change because there's a changeover in administration. Sheriff is retiring there, so there's a new one coming in. I reached out to them, the new jail administrator thinks there's gonna be some changes in it, mostly with what they're on the rate. They don't know what that's gonna be, but I guess I'll wait and see what they send me, once that individual is seated, and if there's any changes, and maybe they'll leave it the same for a year, I don't know.
Okay.
Scott, I think you added one,
Yeah.
if I caught that.
You got any old business or any new business on yours?
Hey, just in case, just to kind of cover if you guys had something, but I
We
don't
just
think
had
there
this-
is anything, but.
Discussion on transports. Kevin?
Yes, my question is, we have a resolution that we just signed. I know I talked to you, well, I texted you about this, and I guess I was gonna ask our state's attorney, but he's gone. Is a resolution, why do we have a resolution if we're not gonna follow it? I know you said that there was problems with people gone on National Guard duty and other things. But, and you're an elected official, you can do what you want, but why do we even have a resolution if you're gonna just hire whoever and mandate that they, my suggestion is, why are we paying her if that's the resolution we have? But you say that we're gonna pay it, so I don't understand why we even have a resolution or why we're even here.
Oh, we know what the resolution is, and it sets the transport personnel at 4 salary, and you got, the board just took away the per diem. They're not gonna go into what their job detail is because everybody knows what their job is. They can be on the road for quite a number of hours, a long period of time. But anyway, the issue that I ran into, and I spoke with the chairman about it also. You know, I'm gonna have to make decisions that are not gonna be very popular with the board. And I get that, and I understand that. I had an issue, it was a female inmate. 2 females, 2 males are what my transport's made of. 1 female was gone for guard duty, unable to utilize her. And the situation arose where 2 instances occurred, and the other female had all of her time used up, sitting on an emergency committal. It was a female had to stay with her. So I took it upon myself to attempt to fix the situation. I understand there's a resolution, but I don't think I had a choice in it, so I brought one of the transport jail people back to handle that transport, which they were willing to do. Called in short notice, and the female was able to do it and did it for me. Otherwise, I mean, I was not gonna have the female that already did 14 hours do a 7-hour trip on top of 14. I was not gonna do that with no rest period and whatnot, so being limited on what we can do for housing at all, I mean, which we're very limited, so I made the decision to hire that person out at her old wage for that day. I got one of the transports out on Culvert right now. One of the males is out. Can't return till the 22nd. I mean, folks, I'm gonna run into this stuff. I'm gonna have to punt and make decisions. I'm not gonna call the board every time something arises at 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the morning and try and, I don't think that's necessary to call a full 5-member board at 3:30 in the morning to try and get something accomplished via phone. I mean, I understand what's being said, but these circumstances are gonna come up, and I'm gonna have to fix them when they come up, and that's the only way I could fix it. With the one that's out on COVID, I contacted one today. I had someone in place. They're PRN, so if they get called, they're gonna get their hourly wage. So, but the individual was willing to babysit the phone, and because right now, like I said, the one male is on a transport. It's a male. He's heading out to Rapid City. So do the math. These things are going to come up, and I've told the board this, and I get what you're saying, and that's all I can say about it, because I'm going to have to do what I need to do to try and make this work and keep the support there. There was another the female situation with the individual being gone for guards. You know, there was no other way I could do that. It had to be a female that transported that female. We cannot use a male.
So what are you gonna do when guards comes up and you hired 2 that are on National Guard, and they're both gone for 2 weeks?
I understand that.
Okay, so.
And that's a road I'll have to cross when it comes. That'll be June or July, I'm guessing.
I would imagine, but as long as you understand when you hire them that you're taking the responsibility that you're gonna be down 2 people for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. I understand that.
And I foreseen this coming, but found out who was on the team, and I said that this is what's gonna happen. But I guess I don't understand why we have a resolution then.
Are you saying we shouldn't hire those individuals that belong to the National Guard?
I'm saying that.
Or should we give them an option? They can either work for the sheriff or for the National Guard?
I'm not saying that, but if I'm hiring somebody, I have to take that in consideration. I would have a plan made of what's gonna happen when they're at the National Guard.
I would guess he had one until we changed his plans last meeting.
That's his decision who he can hire and not, but if it was me, I would take it in consideration, but I'm not telling you how to do your job by no means. But why are we?
I think you get in serious trouble giving your employees the option. They're gonna belong to the guard and work for the sheriff. We'll see what happens after this deal.
Not telling them that at all.
Let that get out.
Not saying that at all, but why do we have a resolution? Why?
Myself as county sheriff, I have to, I accept a lot of responsibility and liability with this job.
I understand.
And that does lie with me, and it also, I have to do what I can to protect the county also. And to me, hiring that female to handle that, was a no-brainer for me, I guess. She was willing to assist me at the time. It was a very short phone call. The same thing with the mail today. The individual did it, no problem. Yep, I'm around, I'll do it, yep. And I can't plan around COVID either, so, I understand. But this is stuff I knew I was gonna run into also.
And Bridge or any other department cannot help with any transports.
These have been emergency committals and stuff that were ours. We haven't done a lot for the PD right now. And to my knowledge, I have not had the transport for the highway patrol yet either, as of yet. So these are detainers, state detainers, probation, emergency committals, stuff that occur, that county, it falls under county anyway. So I don't know what else to say to the board besides I got to do what I need to do to try and make this work.
Are you gonna look at having to use one of your deputies at some times? That you're gonna have one of them do something like that?
If it's a emergency situation, I'll have to deal with it when it happens. But it's very possible.
But in this case with the female, he doesn't have any.
I just asked.
I'm sure on the sheriff's office side too. I got one out. So
He's still out?
Yep. It's to throw a lot. It's the person that people are already had training in it. They've done several. They were willing to come back. I guess I don't know what the wage would. I didn't run the number in. $100 just off the top of my head, but I just don't want to take that risk and try and do it any other way. So.
Guess I just don't see why we bother messing with resolutions or anything else, or why we are even here to make any decisions. That's all I had.
Anything else, Josh?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Recycling center. Spoke with Walworth, they don't have any place for it. So, what I did was, Don Tisdale called and he said that he would allow us to stay if we would sign a 2 or 3 year lease. Then Paul and I were looking into things and we were discussing it last night, and we think that the best thing for the county would be to save money, but still keep the program going, is to bring the balers out to the landfill. And we'll just have to do it out there. We have room for the balers. The only problem we're gonna run into is storing bales. So we did budget 12,000 for that lease next year. If you guys would rather, we could put up some sort of structure for storing the bales with that money.
You know, landfill, you mean?
Yeah. I mean, that way I don't have two people going to the recycling center once a week. They can work on it, you know, as they have some time. Like Lewis is running the scale on Thursdays and Fridays and we don't have Jim there. You know, he could be doing it in between trucks and normally he does cleaning, but we thought that would probably be the best option. I mean, I ran some numbers. Our expenses for utilities, rent, trucking, and repairs was $15,753.05. Our revenue total that we received was $1,995.40. And I didn't even run the expenses for gloves, cleaning supplies, twine. I didn't run it for the wages for the 2 employees, 7 hours, 1 day a week. So, I mean, it's fairly a big loss. I believe that if we really want to keep it going, that we should move it out to the landfill, unless you guys do want to sign a 2 or 3 year lease in town. But as you can see, it's not, I mean, we're losing money.
They wanted 500. I found a place in Walworth behind the Walworth manufacturing.
We looked at that place. Yeah, it doesn't have any insulation inside. There's, I mean, it's empty. And it's not big enough. And then there would be no place for, you know, people to come in and put their items. We would have to have them outside, and I don't know how that would work very well. But yeah, I don't even think it's wired actually. And the landfill already is wired for that big baler. So, I mean, that's why, I mean, we have 3 options basically. Close, sign a 2 or 3 year lease, or move it to the landfill.
But I just wonder if you move it out to the landfill, I just wonder how people, because it's, I guess Mowbridge loves it right where it's at. My guess.
For sure.
But if you're in town, you don't have to be that building.
No, in a town building. Right, in Mowbridge. In Mowbridge.
Well, it's a huge convenience.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying, you move it out to landfill, it isn't, I'm gonna guess it isn't gonna get used like it is. I'm only speculating.
So we also talked about that, and we thought maybe that we could put some bins even in the city again, like they used to be. But the only issue that we would run into is it hauling them back and forth all the time becomes a lot. We were thinking maybe if the city could help out with that or something.
See, I think that's why Ryan chose to do what he did, is because of hauling back and forth.
Yeah.
I think that's why Ryan chose to go to Mowbridge.
Right, that's why we were thinking maybe this, you know, more rich people want it, maybe the city could help out with the hauling back and forth. I don't know, it's a lot to think about, that's basically what I've come up with, what our options are, really.
Those balers wouldn't work in that garage.
There's 15,000 in the expenses, that includes the rent
Yeah.
for the.
Yeah, all I included in there was the utilities, rent, trucking, and repairs. I didn't include, like I said, the labor, the equipment, but we already own the equipment.
Well, the rent is 12, isn't it?
Yep. Utilities was just over 2,000, trucking was 1,350, and we had a repair just recently on one of the balers, the hydraulic hose that we need to replace.
And brought in just short of 2,000.
Yep.
Most places we finance is overturned by then.
I would
All I can say,
say shut it out.
all I can say, people, is we better look at what that revenue that we're down. We better take that into consideration for the whole picture.
Close it up.
And Mobridge absolutely doesn't wanna do it.
They don't have any place for it.
I mean, what God's name do they got in that armory? That's a big building.
All of the water department's stuff, I guess.
That's a big building.
I would suggest we close it down and advertise, declare that stuff surplus and advertise, see if we can get rid of it.
Motion?
To me, I think the Mobridge should really consider, they should consider helping out then. If they didn't want the whole blunt, then they should, to me, the city of Mobridge should look at it and said, well, what if we would split this with you and we're still losing money? To me, it's a beneficial thing to the city of Mobridge. So Mobridge should be on board on this.
I agree with Jim.
But it's not on our agenda, so make that motion. We still have to be out of there by the 1st of January. We're gonna have to move that stuff anyway, because we aren't gonna get it.
Right.
I would suggest we move the baler and get rid of all the stuff we can, and then the first meeting in January declare it surplus and
Can we do it under new business? The motion.
I don't think it'd be so smart, yes, Josh.
Can you do it on the road because you guys discussed it before? About the opening Culvert.
Just ask to get a little bit of trouble.
Do it on 29.
We do have a pickup load of stuff already loaded up, ready to haul out, but we were just gonna wait and see what happened today before.
well, we're gonna have to haul that stuff out of there anyway, no matter what, so I would just,
I'd suggest getting it out of there and then put it on the agenda for the 29th.
So are we able to lock the doors now?
I would
Or-
suggest, you know.
I think I would. No, you don't want more stuff to haul out.
Yeah, because if we get the baler out there, we're not gonna be able to do anything with that stuff anyway, it has to be hauled off.
Have you started moving anything out of there yet?
I just said yesterday we loaded up a pickup, but we were gonna wait and see what happened today, because we didn't wanna haul it out and then have you guys sign a 2-year lease, you know.
I would suggest shut it down and have the building empty by the 1st of January. First meeting in January, declare it surplus and advertise and sell it.
You don't wanna try it at the landfill for a while?
It don't look like we're gonna make any money there either.
Why you take $12,000 out of the 15, it makes it look a little bit better.
It does help.
That's big, that's a huge
I
amount.
mean, there's where all your expenses is the rental.
Yeah.
You know, and you got,
And then
you already got your utilities out the landfill, so I mean, yeah, you'll have a little increase in utility costs out the landfill, but,
To me, it looks like what the talk is here, I would say we better move everything out of the out of the building there in Mobridge. And then I would think that on the 29th, we should decide whether or not we're gonna run it there at the landfill, or like Jim said, surplus it. I would say that we should do that on the 29th, but it needs to get moved now, and there's gonna be a period of time, no matter what, to move out of there, that there won't be nothing.
Well, we
Can't
could
do
have
nothing.
bins set out at the landfill and just a note on the door saying, bring it out there for now, just
Well-
during this process.
You probably won't get near the stuff out there, will you?
I don't think there'll be as much.
one thing about it, if we move it out there, we decide to get the stuff out of the building, move it out there, we're not out anything. We've got the stuff out at the landfill, if we wanna try it out there and see if people are willing to take recycling out there, leave it going. I mean, it's not,
If you would move your bins out immediately and put your sign at the door, we would print here know what kind of response we're gonna have by the 1st of January, wouldn't we?
You would think, especially with Christmas, everybody big boxes and everything
Yeah.
else, so.
I mean, you take a $12,000 lease and you say you cut your electrical in half, you're at, just say $13,500 that you would be saving. Well, now all of a sudden you kinda break even without labor and stuff in there.
I think you're gonna find more of it, be able to get rid of it too after business get going.
They start going, I think you'll find, yeah, I do agree there, and you'll find the ability to get rid of some of the stuff, but
I think I'm gonna agree with you guys, but to me, that's costing in Mobridge is hard to swallow. If the city of Mobridge is not willing to help with that, I mean, I guess I don't understand really why that should be a whole county expense, because it is benefiting the city of Mobridge. That's the bottom line. And I think city of Mobridge, I guess if they were here, I'd say the same words, but they should be stepping up to the plate and helping with a lot of that cost.
Well,
I'm sorry, but they should be.
I'm hoping to eventually maybe find some groups or something that would start just coming and getting the plastic from us. Of course, not paying us for it probably, but at least coming and taking it and hauling it themselves. I'm hoping that I can find.
if you could do that all it does is saves us landfill space for future. I mean, we're not putting it in a landfill.
Right.
Which is a big bonus, but to me, to spend $13,000 to have this recycling as a loss just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Right.
When we've got a landfill that we could put it in.
Yeah, our only problem is going to be storing the bales, but like I said, I'm sure we could put up some sort of structure for.
Do those bales have to be stored inside? I suppose you're talking the cardboard?
I would think the cardboard would have to be.
I would think the cardboard.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking plastic would.
Outside all the time.
So expensive it is out.
But I mean,
But don't have to have it inside.
but not for a long period of time, is it?
It's in the back behind their building quite a while.
It's there a long time.
I would think with that stuff as tight as it is, I mean, unless you just get a huge soaking rain, it ain't gonna take on moisture very easy. Kind of like a regular hay bale, they don't take on moisture very much if they're stacked right. But one thing about it, we can try it.
There's no doubt
It ain't part of the landfill
No.
from there if we have to. Anyway,
Well, I think that answers the question.
We'll lock the door, start hauling stuff off, put out a sign, and put bins out of the landfill for now.
Yes.
I need a motion to advertise for a budget supplement for the Transource Soul Brothers payment that we will be making on the 29th.
So
Okay, I got a motion on the floor. I need a second. Got a second. Any more discussion on that? Is that the figure that was in the?
So, because of the deadline of the newspaper, I was hoping you guys would approve that because I sent it to the papers yesterday. It was for the amount that I have vouchered today, but it's okay if it's less. Whoops. When we do the supplement, it's fine if it's less money than what I had advertised. So we'll have to find out from Randy as soon as he's done.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed. Anything else, Becky?
Yeah, I gave you guys an update on the CARES funding that I've been applying for and getting approved. I think we're at, what, 190,000 received. I have submitted an additional like 200. Right here. We're waiting on 244,000. We were allocated 359,000. But NECOG stated that some of the counties and cities are not claiming theirs, so they might reallocate funding to those of us that submit more than what we were allocated. So I'm just submitting as much as I can. So I'm already 400, but now I'm waiting. They have to approve a couple of the jail salary ones. After they approve one, then I can submit more. So I'll have a lot more submitted yet, but I'm just gonna keep going because if we can get the money, I'm gonna try.
absolutely.
So that's what I'm with that. And then the next thing is the automatic supplement to the EM budget. So there was problems with the health insurance, the way it was being done. And so a bunch of manual entries were done in November, which made people's budgets look a lot worse than they were. So the EM budget will be over, and a few other departments. And the reason I put this on here is this is the CARES funding we've received back for the EM budget so far. And I just thought we'd supplement that because we can do an automatic supplement and then it won't make the budget so far out. And that one's bad because of that $18,000 generator, which I resubmitted that today to the CARES reimbursement, and they're gonna approve that one. So I might have that back by the 29th, and we can do an automatic supplement there too, and then his budget won't be overspent. So I put this on here today because we don't have to advertise for automatic supplements for the CARES reimbursement.
I so move.
Okay, I got a motion on the floor. I need a second.
I'll second it.
Got a second. Any more discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion passed.
Anybody have anything for me?
Okay, we got the other one that I put on there about the salary and benefits of the state's attorney. I guess what I'm asking you, Jamie's not here, I'm asking the rest of the commissioners, how's Jamie's budget gonna afford 2 secretaries? And I know he's not here to answer this, but, and the other person that was working there that he just hired is getting full benefits. I mean, something's not looking right here. How she's getting full benefits is.
Wasn't it, she was getting full benefits working at the jail and we just let them?
Right.
Why didn't her benefits drop off when she quit the jail?
I don't know that.
It should have automatically dropped the benefits.
Yes, Becky?
We aren't able to do that without being told to do that. And she's still getting full-time hours somehow, so.
I guess I wouldn't mind seeing her, she's short 10 hours, and I think it would have been easier if Jamie would have just put her in Kathy's position and left Brenda where it was at. That didn't happen to Amy. I think I would like to see her take over that collection deal that we're paying them other guys to do, and it doesn't look like we get a whole lot done. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's some things that should be answered for, and I guess that's our job. We're looking at this stuff, and if somebody's getting paid the benefits right now and they shouldn't be, I mean, it's obvious Jamie probably has something going on, so.
Something for it.
Well, and I'm gonna put it on our next meeting on the 29th, and we need to get these things answered. So. All right, we'll go on to old business. Davis, would you like to talk about the 9/11 stuff?
Yeah, I'll tell you just where it's at, you know, where it was headed. Is that Gary Myrie called me up and asked if I could do something about that. There was some 9/11 addresses, right? They weren't recorded or mapped out.
That was always done in the highway department.
Yeah. Anyway, Heather's and Sal and Mulbridge is head of it. And so I went and talked to her, and she said that before this, Getz was going to teach somebody how to do it. Okay, it's different, rural's different than city, I guess. Okay. So I went and talked to Heather, and she said she's got her own person to map it and do that. And I said, well, did she get trained? She said that Brooks Johnson trained her, she can do it. So that's where we were at. And then I hear that that's Tammy Fisher is her choice. Anyway, she was over here and got some information from Deb. Is that right? And was going to do it. Okay, so that's all I got. Because they're working on it.
I guess I was looking at it probably a number of different scenarios we could have done there. We could have had our emergency manager, I mean, I think we should still even look at that. Emergency manager, to me, it looks like that's something that easily could be in that department, where it probably should have been to begin with. I would guess he's got the time, whoever that EM is, or even at the extension. I mean, to me, they're just part of these, because to me, that 911, I mean, I think Myrie made it very clear that there's quite a bit that they're supposed to do out in the country. Yes, Jim?
Gary told me he is comfortable with doing the measuring and
And he would be?
getting the address, yeah, and then reporting it. Now, I visited with Penny, and she told me she thought to bring the county, not the city, just the county, up to where it should be, would probably take her 3 months. She said, every time someone changes an address, that is supposed to be entered into that. Now, my grandson moved up the street about 6 houses in a casket, and that should be entered in their 911 deal. And Penny tried to explain to me, I was lost. It isn't something that just is that simple to do. And you mentioned extension, Scott. We don't have an extension agent.
No, but we gotta do something there.
But, and I agree, I kind of agree with Davis. They're getting, the city of Mobridge is getting all of our 911 dollars, if I understand it right. So why wouldn't they do that? I'd be really opposed to having them do it if they're gonna charge us any more money for it, but they're already getting our
Well, that's what I'm
911
getting at.
dollars.
That's what I'm getting at, Josh, and you gotta have to tell me, what was that goes to salaries? Is it 15% or something like that? You and I talked about that one, I mean, what? you have-
What I passed out, if the county could technically pull back up to 15%, I think it was, for cover wages to do the county side of it, if they so choose, is my understanding. And then it listed certain departments where it could be delegated or have done, and highway department was one of them. But, I think where Jim's getting at, since you're getting 100% of the dollars, and, I mean, but we would have to hold back that for the salaries down the auditor's office would.
Yes.
We give them over $60,000 a year.
But their problem is that they're taxed only on the landlines. And there's a lot of landlines that aren't being hooked up again. So their money coming in is pretty short. You know what I mean?
So
The phone landlines you're talking about?
Not as many people have that anymore.
Very few have them.
So that's rather short.
I would suggest we look into this a little more. I don't know a whole lot about it now. I just visited with Deb a little bit ago. They said Brooks Johnson used to do the city. So was that just Mobridge, or was it Selby and Akaska and Glenham and Java? It sounds like nobody's done Akaska, according to Deb.
See, I think you're right, Jim, we should find out all about this before all of a sudden, this here, they're gonna say, well, you owe us $24,000 on this, rep
Yeah.
that number up, and all of a sudden, you owe this amount of money. I don't think we need to figure out exactly
So,
something.
are all our 911 dollars going to the city of Mobridge?
Yep, it comes to us and then we send it to them.
It has been for,
A few years. We used to be able to use it on some things, but they changed the laws, so we weren't able to use it on anything, hardly. So I think all the counties are doing that. They're sending their money to the,
Is that because
Is
of
that-
the call center being in Mobridge? Is that why we decided to
the
do that?
dispatchers.
Dispatch?
Mhm.
Correct.
And you need money to run.
Right.
That's the main piece of it.
So
Public safety.
15% would be 9,000.
But, so, are you saying that an employee there, Heather said, could do the rural for us?
Tammy Fisher was taught, and my understanding that Brooke Johnson taught her how to do it. And I told her it's rural, she said, you can do it, yeah. Rather than pay the money out, they can do it local.
And then we wouldn't have to pay them additional?
I think that needs to be pointed
I
out.
think we need to discuss that in depth, that point.
Yeah.
You know, and another thing that Gary's talked about is, we send all that 911 money over to Mobridge, but the county ends up with the cost of replacing the signs and the posts and for the
That's
911.
why something just seems a little odd here.
And I don't remember who told me, but I was told that if they don't get about all of them 911 dollars, they don't know if they can operate that call center, then it'll go to Pier. So, you know, this is, I think needs a little studying before we jump in the puddle with both feet.
Who's on the 911 board? You are? Have you gone to the meetings?
Well, sure.
I don't know. Was that being sarcastic?
A little more.
That's why I know so much.
I know they only meet twice a year.
Twice a year.
I kind of wonder, I mean, in that way, because this has to be way studied and get more in depth of what's actually going out for these dollars, but it seems to me like if we're giving all of the 911 dollars to the city of Mobridge, and I understand the call center is a huge benefit to the county to have that there, and they're operating that, there's a huge cost to running that, I'm sure. But there's also other expenses that come along with the 911 addressing and everything else that has to be somehow, either some of those dollars have to come out of that so the signage and all the stuff within the county can be done and done correctly, or something. That's why I think that we gotta dig into this a little deeper to find out what can be done there.
I think there's 9 addresses that they have to fix up. But I understand.
9 areas or,
No,
oh,
addresses, I think. I'm not sure.
I don't know, does Brooks have much in the, experience in the rural addressing? You know, because Myra, Hani, and Penny are the ones who had the most to do with that. I think Myra set it all up to begin with, all the rural.
She told me that she could do it. Tammy had the training, so.
Yeah.
I think we should really discuss this at that next meeting on the 29th there, and we need to find out a little more. It's like Jim said, I mean, we don't want no unexpected.
Penny told me if she was gonna come in, I didn't know if Tammy had the training or not, so I called Penny to see what it would take, because I knew she'd done it. She said she maybe could get it done sooner than 3 months, but she figured it'd be 3 months to get the county up to where it needs to be. And then, I guess she tried to explain to me, there is a lots of hoops to jump through when you start doing it out in the county. And then she could take it, download, then she'd have to do it in the highway office, and she could download that, take it over and give it to Tammy and get her started.
I was just wondering if it would be better to wait because they meet in January. Maybe go to the meeting, because it's not that far away, and find out more.
Something just doesn't, to me, it doesn't sound right.
There's lots of questions that need to be answered before we make a decision, I think.
Really agree. I guess see what you can find out, Jay, a little more on it.
Well, why don't I just ask her if they'll come over for the meeting?
That's fine.
Huh?
Like I said, because I don't believe any of us know a lot on this.
If you could come over and Tell us what she's doing there.
Okay. Any other old business? New business?
One thing I was gonna bring up is the extension deal, when are we gonna hire somebody on the extension?
As far as I know, there are 2 applications. We had said that a long time ago. I don't know if there's any or not.
Is that? No, that's just for her 10 hours that Brenda had, right? And I had some 4-H leaders, Walworth County leaders, call me and ask me about that, and I told them I don't know for sure if we need to hire someone to replace Brenda. And every one of their answers is the same, oh dear, is what they said. So,
Nobody else has anything else? I'd take a motion to adjourn.
We'll know.
Okay, a motion on the floor, I need a second.
I'll second.
A second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion